There we go. Hi, hello, greetings. I figured I'd wait here because we get the nice radio music. Should probably run over this way now. Now, I don't remember what kind of voice I gave this guy. So, been a few weeks since I've done this. What sort of voice would you have? No, I could always just read it until a voice like clicks with me. We'll begin our search for ceruleum in Reggio Urbanissima. The first location is Forum Soleus, a park northwest of this station. You are to remain close at all times and act only as ordered. Follow me. It's hard to stay close at all times when you disappear. In fact, I would say it's nigh on impossible. Ignore these quests. They're not important. In fact, they're so not important. I'm just going to do that. Perfect. No one has to look at those at all. I just need to remember to turn them on later. So, this is a park. I'm surprised they found space for one amongst all these buildings. Actually, the recreational areas came first. The houses were later built around them. A healthy society requires communal spaces for children to play and adults to socialise. The park was named after the founding father of the empire, the great Solus Dos Galvus. Did we come here to extract the ceruleum from the wrecked Magitech armor? No, we've already drained it dry. Same goes for the rest of the machina in the vicinity. But as our ceruleum was stolen, we must scour the city for every last drop. Well, we don't we don't expect to find anything here. Decide to try one more time, just in case something has been overlooked. I see. Then, with your permission, we'll commence the search. Alright, well, first things first, we're just going to ignore all the quest stuff, like all this bright, sparkly stuff. And we're going to run up here just to grab this. And then we can try and grab all the other stuff. Otherwise I'll will forget about that, and I probably won't be remembering to come back for it. For such is the way of my brain. Several points of interest are marked on the map of Forum Soleus. The pond, the children's play areas. To your knowledge, however, none would require the use of ceruleum. Turbo-powered swing set. Like rocket boosters on them. Though rather small by Garlean standards, the structure is reminiscent of a merchant store. Perhaps it was built for children to play as shopkeepers. There's nothing inside resembling Magitech or any other devices that would be fueled by ceruleum. I think there was something else over this side that I spotted, but I'm not 100% sure. Right, so there's definitely that one there. I might as well just check up here as a just in case. Yeah, that's not what I said. Order Machina. Ah, there is. Over there. A cursory inspection of the wrecked Magitech armor confirms that the fuel canisters have long since been drained of ceruleum, as Julius says. Oh, Julius. Not Julius. I don't imagine there'd be much need for Magitech in the park of all places. But then again, I wasn't raised in Garleans. I may have had uses for ceruleum that I've yet to consider. This, whatever it is, appears to have some kind of symbolic meaning relating to this park. Even though the place is named after Solus, it doesn't seem to be a statue of him. Well, not anymore. It was once a fountain. Or somewhere the man himself used to sit. Not that it would matter, even if we knew. But I can't help wondering. Looks like it maybe was a fountain. See what Julius has to say before we move on. He ignores you as he stares at the water in silence. He's searching for something he knows has gone but will never return. Yeah, his childhood. It's gone. The contraption is built in the style of Imperial war machina, and with a battery of weapons capable of transforming into different configurations. But on closer inspection, it appears to be no more than a children's slide. Yeah, mate, I ain't spotted nothing. Oh, it's you. Any luck? There's no sign of any ceruleum. Hardly surprising, but disappointing nonetheless. I couldn't help noticing you gazing at the pond. Is something the matter? Yes, I mean, no, It's just, I used to bring my brother and sister here to play. The pond was heated to stop it from freezing over. So, like all the other children, they just had to wade in and splash about. I would have stayed there if I didn't drag them out. It was sopping wet when all was said and done, every time. Every time when we get home, Mother would scold us saying we'd catch our deaths walking around like that. The pond was heated. With a ceruleum-powered heater by chance? I suppose it might have been, come to think of it. I remember seeing engineers changing out a tank beneath a hatch. That was long ago when the water still flowed clear and wasn't this brackish muck. I can't see a thing and I can't remember where the hatch might be. With the machinery most likely broken, the amount of filth in here is probably the only reason it hasn't frozen over. I wager it's still unbearably cold though. Julius, what are your thoughts on magic? The average Garlean would jump out of their skin if they saw it. The first has a few foreign signiferi and medici, so it doesn't scare me. Then I take it you won't mind if I employ a little now? Half an hour, as you also have a knack for finding dry wood. Why don't you bring me some? Once that's done, a blast of fire should do the trick. Leave it to me. You're not planning to go in there, are you? Of course I am. That tank isn't going to fetch itself. There's nothing so involved as extracting unprocessed cerulean from a frozen lake, like how the tappers do it. Talking about a shallow pond in the park. We have a way of warming ourselves up after. But that's insane. So, fancy a dip? Start the same while I drink the poncho. Green. Yeah, last thing we need is for you to catch a cold. If you're that concerned for my well-being, you can dive in and help me look. The quicker we find that cerulean, the sooner we can get out of here. Alright. Got a point of interest here. Just underneath some rubble. Delve into the murky water, but come up empty-handed. To add injury to insult, the icy wind on your damp clothing chills you to the bone. Brr. Brr, so cold. I'm guessing we want to wait for that to wear off first. But I imagine stacking debuffs will be helpful. Delve into the murky water, but come up empty-handed. Right, we'll just leave that for now. Actually, we'll just have a quick word. Gods be good, it's cold. Perhaps we should have listened to Julius after all. Yeah, maybe. Okay. And then, what's this last one? We'll risk it for a biscuit. Beneath the water, your fingers catch onto what you think might be a handle. You open the hatch to retrieve the cerulean tank. However, your grand discovery comes at a great personal cost, as you become very acutely aware of the freezing cold and rancid odour emanating from every ilm of your body. Julius will doubtless feel compelled to pinch his nose shut when you deliver him your prize. Brr. Did you find anything? I hope you did. Yeah, uncovering hidden treasures and adventurers' bread and butter. One is normally required to go elbow. One is not normally required to go elbow deep in ice-cold, stagnant pond water to retrieve it. Nevertheless, many would choose that over mowing down hordes of slavering beasts or solving annoying puzzles. I like annoying puzzles sometimes. Something does seem like overly dumb. That's it. And there's cerulean left in it. Ah, the fire's still not ready. Hold on, I'll give Alvin a hand. Call me hold on, because by fire I am reborn. My clothes are mostly dried now too. I appreciate you recovering the cerulean, but you should have taken the time to discuss the plan with me beforehand. Despite the way you've been treated in Lord Quintus's eyes, you're still envoys deserving of protection. If you were to die on my watch, he would be most displeased. Your concern is duly noted, but all's well that ends well. Julius, you mentioned coming here with your younger siblings. Did you grow up in Garleans? I did. Not far from here. My father was an accomplished researcher in his youth, and for his contributions to the Empire, awarded an estate. He lived well, and better than many. What was Garleans like in those days? Everything. It was everything you could imagine. And so much more. Even during the coldest winters, we always found warmth and comfort at home. Coming in from the snow, taking off your coat, sitting down for a hot meal with family, visiting friends and relatives, receiving that same welcome, knowing they had everything they needed. Walking down the street, seeing the lights in other houses, hearing the faint sounds of laughter and song, of happiness. And although the summers came, it went all too quickly. In that brief respite, the ice would melt, and the forgotten grass would make its triumphant return. Grey clouds gave way to blue skies. Some mornings we'd climb to the top of the tallest buildings we could find to watch the sunrise. Never again. Those rooftops of rubble, those friends are dead, those memories. But if I could reclaim even a fraction of what we once had, soon a chance will come. We just need to hold on a little longer. To the wealth of experience I've accrued in gathering firewood, I was even able to provide Julius with some basic pointers on the subject that might help to further build rapport and to distract him from other concerns. Oh, at least my clothes are finally dry. Oh, though they could still do a proper wash. Alright, now I've recovered from your escapades in the pond. There's one other location I'd like to search, just outside the park. I'm imagining it's going to be like, no good deed goes unpunished. Like, grr, you're evil, blah blah blah. Everything was built on an enormous scale. With thick, cleanly cut stone, much like Amora. Given what we know, such similarities are no coincidence. The war machina appeared to be patrolling the area of its own volition. I wonder whether it's simply following its original orders, or if now serves of telephony. As you can see, this place is littered with remnants of various types of war machina. While my comrades and I have already recovered the tanks from the less damaged units, those that took a more severe beating are harder to scavenge. We decided to save those for another time, that time being now. Rather than prize them apart piece per piece, it would be quick to remove the outer casing using compact explosives. With luck, we'll gain access to the tanks without rupturing them. Though the force generated by these devices is relatively weak, I would advise that you stand well clear to avoid being hit by any shrapnel. Before even bothering though, you should check the machina's cerulean gauge, see if there's any left. It should provide an accurate reading, even when the unit itself is inactive. If the gauge is broken, I'll let you decide whether to use an explosive or not. Should you need more, come to me. Understood. Let's get to work. According to the cerulean gauge, this unit's fuel tank is empty. Right. Appears to have been broken. Can you know to determine how much it holds? After successfully removing the wall mechanism's outer casing and retrieving the cerulean tank, you find it completely empty. Oh. Alright then. I'm assuming that's just going to be like a recurring thing. Empty. Broken. No, Dragoon. How about nope? How about no? No. Boom. Retrieve the wall mechanism's cerulean tank to find it still half full, or half empty, depending on one's perspective. Either way, Julius will surely be pleased by your discovery. Yeah. Look what I found, matey. More explosives? Wait, is that what I think it is? Not only did this tank survive the attack that disabled the wall machina in which it was installed, it also escaped the blast of your explosives unscathed. If medals for outstanding service were awarded to inanimate objects, this champion among cerulean tanks would surely deserve one. You've done it again. Truly luck is on your side. With this we should be able to refuel quite a few of our heaters. It's time we headed back. Wait here while I go see how Alice and Alphino are faring. Alright. Waiting patiently. And nicely. Very patient, very nice.
Finally escaped the watchful gaze of your keepers, have they?
Hello, Vanquid.
Don't react. You'll only draw attention to yourself. Just carry on as you are and listen. After you left with the Garlean lad, Lucia bade a few of our scouts follow you at a discreet distance. We observed you being led into the station, but decided against venturing inside. When you emerged sometime later, and we saw that the twins were sporting Magitech collars, it was clear what had taken place. Now, as quietly as you can, tell me everything.
I'm wearing a mask, you won't notice a thing.
The Legatus himself, eh? Now there's a surprise. This is also the first I've heard of a plan to join forces with the 10th and storm the Tower of Babel. An interesting development, and perhaps the opportunity we've been waiting for. Our comrades back at the camp also received some rather promising news, but it's still too early to get our hopes up. For now, keeping yourselves out of harm's way comes before all else. Whatever demands the Garleans make, indulge them. With luck, this will all be over soon. Until then.
They had not gone far.
We searched high and low, but no luck, I'm afraid. I might have guessed you'd be the only one to find anything.
I wasn't expecting much to begin with. Eventually, there will be nothing left out here for us to safely salvage. For now, this will have to suffice. We should return to the station.
Can you not just like disable some of those war machina? The other ones currently working outside. And try and like...
Ah, there you are. Heard you'd gone hunting for ceruleum above ground. Brought back a king's ransom?
Hardly. But thanks to these three, we have enough to last a little while longer.
Well, well. It's not at all as I was expecting, these ones. For savages, they seem positively docile. It's a poor attempt at humor. In all honesty, I'm grateful for your efforts. But even with another night of warmth, there are those among us who may not live to see the morrow.
I trust your expedition was fruitful.
Lord Quintus!
Use what you procured to refuel the armor.
But, sir, what about the heaters for the camp?
The time for action is upon us. My men and I have matters to discuss. In the meantime, you are to wait here. Do not forget, you are being watched.
I've got a feeling that we're not actually being watched. They're just saying that as a... Yeah, no, we're watching you. Staying well.
The time for action. What did he mean by that?
I can only speculate. Clearly something requiring their magitech, given what we just heard. Whether they plan to utilize it now, or after they join with the 10th, is another question.
Really awful
Will they
situation.
ever escape this gold? Return to and reclaim the idyllic spaces of which Euless spoke?
Is it Euless? I thought it was Julius. Alright, cool.
Finished your war, Council?
He's not happy with whatever he's got to do.
Alphino and Alizé are to stay here, as our prisoners. They will be released once your comrades have relinquished their supplies and withdrawn from Garlean soil. Until our terms are met, they will be detained at a separate location.
After everything we've said and done, this is how you treat us.
Our allies have but limited supplies. They may stave off cold and starvation for a short while, but what then?
Don't do it. Don't do it.
For now, keeping yourselves out of harm's way comes before all else. Whatever demands the Garleans make, indulge them.
Everything will be alright. Get through this.
Get them out of here.
I'll be back for you too, don't worry. Half an hour now, say we'll be fine, providing they do not resist. So, like I was saying, I feel like no good deed goes unpunished. Via Lecter Est. Alright. You will accompany me to your camp, where I will meet with your leader and present Lord Quintus's demands. Before you depart, however, there is something I would ask of you. Assuming your contingent complies, supplies they surrendered will need to be transported here. That task falls to Legionaries Marcellinus and Octavia, who pilot the Magitech army to your headquarters. You are to inform them that we are leaving shortly. Tell them to ask the Eel for further details in those words. Once you've seen to that, meet me by the exit. Hey, Marcellinus. You again. Ask the eel, I said. So, that's to be the way of it. After all this. How ironic that you should be the one to deliver the news. But if those are my orders, then so be it. For the glory of Garleans. I've got a feeling that... Hi Ruth! I've got a feeling that they basically got like a mini rebellion on their hands. What do you want with me? Ask the eel. So, Lord Quintus has reached a decision. I knew he would understand. He would recognise that the savage's ruthless, merciless creature that feed him, we too must become. We too must be uncompromising. I am ready. In the name of Emperor Varus, for the glory of Garlemald, I will fulfill my duty. Yeah, I 100% expect this to be like a mini rebellion that was staging here. They're supposed to meet with Julius outside. Hello, Julius. Have you done as instructed? What do you mean by ask the eel? I am not at liberty to divulge that. What I can say is this. We have no cause for concern if our demands are met. You and I are in this together now, like it or not. We have to cooperate. There is one other matter. A place I'd like to visit on the way to your camp. It's a short walk from here. Follow me. Yes, there's two possible things that could happen here. One, we're staging like a mini rebellion. And we're sort of like tricking people into going to fight when they don't need to. Or when the plan isn't actually to do that. Or two, they're going to head over to the other side. We're like, we don't want to work for them anymore. So it's putting on a little thing. Rulers link us by the ruins, reluctant to leave and reluctant to stay, unable to move on. Yeah, well, actually, hold on, does they say anything? Come on, please. Yeah, okay. I'm guessing this used to be his house.
This is my home.
Yeah.
Our home. At least it was, until that night. I was with Lord Quintus when the capital fell, and thus spared. My family, who did not own a radio, were less fortunate. When dawn came, I made my way here. My parents, my little brother and sister, they were still inside. But they weren't themselves, and they tried to. And I'd promised to take them away from the capital that very morning, to somewhere safe, to hide until the fighting stopped. Promised.
Yeah, that's rough.
Garlean flag bears a chain. The bonds between our countrymen. A red link at its center. The blood of the fallen. Our loved ones who lived and died for Garlemald. But if she too fell, who would be left to remember them and their sacrifice? What enduring proof would there be that they were ever here? If we had turned to your gods, would they have saved us?
Probably not. They don't do a lot to save people.
Sorry, I forget I spoke.
In AR's either.
We should go.
It's pretty much just Heidelin that's interfered with things.
It's no use. Believe me, I do not enjoy being here any more than you. But he wanted us to play along, so that is what we will do.
Yeah, probably better to sit closer together, to be fair. Anybody here that you do put out, you should like bounce off each other a little bit.
It's so cold.
Painfully so. Unbearably.
I've been thinking about what Quintus said. About why no one would accept Garlean rule. Irreconcilable differences. When coexistence isn't an option, only conquest remains. Varus at Gimlet said much the same. Only by uniting the world beneath a single standard would we rid ourselves of the Ascians. United as one people. One race cleansed of imperfections. A cold and unforgiving vision. And when we fail to live up to their standards, what place is there for us in their world? But the truly sad, truly frustrating thing is how damnably similar it all is to the lofty ideals of Father and the Forum. Non-intervention. Always non-intervention. Protect our knowledge and our people, and to hells with the rest of you. And yet, I can see how it happened. Varys and Father looked to their elders for guidance and took their virtues as their own. But for this world was of their making. In who else could they place their trust? All of us lost in a sea of chaos, searching desperately for purpose and meaning. But it shouldn't just be an extension of another's. It has to be ours. It has to be. We all have a stake in this world. No one should be silenced.
I won't deny that we lack the experience of people such as Father or Quintus. Perhaps they've come to see the world as a series of problems, and the most efficient way of solving them, to reduce everything to fundamental forms. A stone is a stone, a cloud, a flower, no more than that. Simple descriptions that strip the subject of distinguishing characteristics.
Please don't try to fight me.
A man is a man, divided according to race, creed, or allegiance, and to some, defined by such associations.
Is that what you think?
In my misbegotten youth. But what I believed wisdom was no more than aggressive ignorance. I've since learned to look beyond the banners and the politics, to see people as individuals with their own hopes and dreams. As for my dream of building a better world, well, every day I'm reminded that it is far more complex than I had ever imagined. But it only spurs me onward, to find the wisdom and the strength to see it through to the very end.
I really hope that they're not gonna try and fight me, because if they do, I will have to end them all.
All of our supplies and an immediate withdrawal. These are your conditions?
Demands. And you forgot about the airship. Once again, you will leave one behind. It will be used to return the prisoners. Their collars will be removed prior to the exchange.
So in the end, not even Father's expertly worded rhetoric could deter you from your chosen course.
Huh?
Not that I thought for a moment that it would. I've no love for violence, of course, but ours is a cause worth fighting for. I just wish he'd realize it too. Sometimes the only way to protect the ones you love is to take a stand, to refuse to suffer in silence. I want you to know I share your conviction. Whether it be on the battlefield or in the debating chamber, I won't back down. I guess what I'm saying is...
You've found your own reason to fight.
Yes. Yes, I have. God's willing, there will come a day when we can finally lay down our arms, and there will be peace. But not until the Telophoroi have been defeated once and for all. And you, brother, will have a vital part to play. By your words and deeds, you'll lead the way.
I pray I am up to the task.
There'll always be naysayers. Those who think us fools for even trying. It's easy for learned elites to criticize earnest efforts and assert their moral superiority, all without offering alternatives. Not that their sophistry has ever wounded you. So stubborn and strong Stronger than you even know. Don't ever change, you hear me? If you stumble, I'll be there to catch you. Or give you a thick ear. Maybe both, for good measure.
Thank you, Alice.
The scouts have secured Alizé and Alphino. Their collars were removed without complication as well. They report no casualties, not for their party nor the guards, who will wake from their premature slumber in due course.
It would appear the situation has changed. I propose new terms. We have information that will be of great interest to Lord Quintus, and I wish to speak with him in person.
No. In the event you rejected our first proposal, we came prepared with a second.
Ambush!
Why would you pick that?
More are coming! Make ready!
We, the loyal soldiers of the First Legion, proud servants of Garleans, of the fallen Emperor Varys, shall safeguard these lands from the barbarian hordes until our countrymen return! Stop, both of you!
This child may be the worst emissary I have ever seen.
We received an urgent communication from the Grand Company of Eorzea. Envoys from the Imperial Army, led by members of the 10th Legion, came to Alamigo and requested an audience. They explained that their efforts to coordinate the reclamation of the capital with the aid of the 4th, 5th, 8th, and 12th had ended in failure. Communication between most legions has broken down entirely. Most of the 10th's conscripts have deserted, leaving their forces severely depleted. That is why, unable to continue the fight on their own, they and their allies turned to the Grand Company of Eorzea for aid.
Lies! Every word!
It is the truth, and I have not finished. The 10th has requested that we deliver a message to Lord Quintus. Have the ill stand down.
You have been listening, my lord? What are your orders?
Inform her that we will honor the 10th's decision. Bereft of hope, and now dignity. I release you from your duty. All of you. I take solace, your radiance, in the knowledge you are not here to witness our debasement. 'Twas a grand, glorious dream we shared. Of a world united, of peace and prosperity. We are ghosts, you and I. Memories of days gone by. Bonds forged in blood that I will not see tarnished.
Don't be an idiot.
Quickly! We have to reach the station before it's too late.
If there is still a chance that Quintus will agree to a truce, we must take it.
I just hope we get there before he and his men do something rash.
Well, maybe too late. Yep, too late. Much and more has occurred since we last met. As for determining what comes next, I must speak with Lord Quintus. Yeah, about that, that might be, I don't think you can do that. Before we proceed, tell me what you know of the First Legion and the disposition of their forces. They were preparing for war with the refugees in the cave we left to go hungry. A reckless, short-sighted plan that risks the welfare of the people they are sworn to protect. Nevertheless, we cannot compel them to accept our aid. If they were but to arrive in force with the intent to do so, it would only incite panic. But perhaps they could be persuaded to follow one of their own. Go with Julius back to the station and have him lead the refugees here. Some may be unwilling or unable to leave, but for the time being I'll take what I can get. Half an hour? I say, and the scouts sent to extricate them should already be at the station. We'll also have our other comrades in the area, and their support should be needed. Understood. It's like, hey, yeah, we're not the bad guys right in the void zone. We're totally the good guys. What do you mean? I forgot I've had my fan on this whole time. I'll say fan. Dehumidifier. Ah, we're fine. We're fine. Completely fine. Okay, I've just had a quick peek at how many quests are on, and judging by the time, we're going to have to stop on the 6th. I think maybe the 5th. Because I don't think there'll be any queues, if I'm completely honest. like dungeons. Dungeons are fine. I can go in with trust dungeons. Unless they've added like trusts to the trials, which I don't think they will have done. We'll have to end that. But that's a ways off yet. Besides, when I do come off, I'll probably go on Valheim for a bit, 9, 10, 10, so we can actually get the rest of the bronze stuff sorted. Oh yeah, it was like over here, then you go back down that way. I think it was anyways. Yeah. You get up here and then you go down these stairs. And there's like a side bit and then you go down there. Yeah, that's how that goes. Oh, you remember it. Totally. That's it, completely missing a turn. Around here. Oh, I got a hammer. Yeah. Good boy. Septity and Ulysses. Arrived just before you did end. Too late. Too late for what? What happened? Lord Quintus. He took his own life. After the news about the 10th, he relieved us of our duties, then he was alone. No, he wouldn't. Thancred and the others, assisted by the soldiers, have seen to the reins. In due course, shall the legatus be afforded a proper burial. He released us from our duty. He wanted us to be free to choose our own fate. Thou him to guide us where I... just this moment spoken with Lucia. We are ready to commence the transfer of refugees here to Camp Broken Glass. Would they be willing to accept our aid? Some would rather die. But most of us just want to live. Songs and standards be damned. We just want to live. Let's speak with the refugees. They'll have to decide for themselves if they wish to come with us. If they would prefer to stay, we can have supplies brought over for them. It'll be a hard journey for the others. See they reach their camp safely. What happened to his family? The first was all Ulysses had left. Even that's been taken away from him. He's not alone in that either. There's comfort in having someone to follow, someone to lead. Yes, never mother and lad. Sabinians. That's an interesting name. It was only ever in a dream, wasn't it? To think we could reclaim it and build it all ourselves. Before this all began, I sent my wife and daughter away to the provinces. There's a chance I might see them again, I'll take it. So take me with you, please. Well, got the Aetheryte sorted in the end. All it took was a few adjustments, and it works as well as it ever did. From what I can tell, the one in Latera is also functioning as normal. That's where you'll have to stay, isn't it? Now most of us are packing up and leaving this place, I reckon there'll be more use for me and my skills over at your camp. I'm guessing there will be some that'll just outright hate the idea. Oh, it's you. The one who treated me with such kindness. I heard from the others that you're not from around here. I thought you were one of us. Not that it makes much difference now. Purebloods, migrants, savages. After a while, words start to lose their meaning. Till all you're left with is anger and fear and hate. I'm too tired. Yeah, good night, Ruth. Hope you have a good sleep. See you later. If you and yours have come to offer aid, I'll be glad to accept. You know what? To employ healing magics would likely invite catastrophe, as thou canst attest from thy experiences at Victor's spoils. Indeed, the Garleans view of our ability to manipulate ether with the same suspicion of your ability to manipulate ether with the same suspicion that many Eorzeans do magitech. Yeah, sounds about right. Right, our culture, our knowledge, all of it gone. Don't worry. As long as some folks like survive to tell of it, everything's going to be alright now. We have much to discuss. Our rescue, the attack on Camp Broken Glass. We'd hoped to talk about with Quintus. But all of that can wait, and more urgent matters demand our attention. Are any of the refugees willing to come to our camp? About 12. You and I should go first to secure the route back to Camp Broken Glass. With all the creatures and tempered skulking about, I expect we'll have our hands full. This should come in handy. Conqueror's Chain, courtesy of our Leminson friends. Save it for the tempered though. I'll mark a few points that need surveying on your map. Once you've taken care of the riffraff, we'll meet back at our camp. I'll stay with the refugees and do what I can to protect them. While I have no doubt that you and Thancred will do a fine job clearing a path, we must be ever vigilant of threats that may have slipped out of the net. Why? People don't often have a logical reason for it. Worse the ones that do. What does this do? Etherically treated chain capable of binding even the wriggliest of opponents. Ah. I suppose that'll buy us time to detemper them. They look familiar. Right, we're just going to skip through this because this isn't important. Oh, I'm an agent. I forgot to attune. Yeah, I'll have a look for your kid. I'll totally have a look for your kid. Rose the red, violence is due. That's a fate. I know it'll kill you. Sorry. Couldn't help myself there. Ooh, Krahatia. What are your words on the matter? As we might, any words of comfort we may offer are like to fall on deaf ears. We are but strangers from foreign lands. Perhaps in their eyes, the very cause of their suffering to begin with. Nevertheless, we mustn't give up. Did not mean to click the compass. Well, this one's too big, too big. Which mountain was I thinking of? I don't have any dogs on this one, do I? We'll just go with Diamond. But yeah, we do have a dungeon coming up in like a couple of quests. In fact, how many quests was it? 82. Okay, 2 quests. We'll have an encounter over here. There it is. Yeah, well, I might as well actually be using those. I can get a bit more XP from the actual combat bits. The tree on that dot, and the next one's on that dot, and then just by that fair. Cool. I like I have to get them like low on health before I can actually yeet that at them. Then they can be detempered. I use this one. Come on, get it before the debuff. Wonderful. I'm getting a bit worried then. I have to get him so low before he can ensnare them. God. We see no threats on the path ahead. Nice. Ладно. Stay away, omnibus. Omnibus. Ba-da-ba-da. There we go. We're starting a tombstone event pretty soon. And for folks that don't know what the tombstone events are, it's basically, I'm pretty sure main scenario gets one. And like several dungeons and raids and stuff will get a cool tombstone symbol added to them. Like this one. But like it'd be like one specifically for this event. And you can trade those in for like mounts, pets, sometimes like cards. Ah, there you are. As expected, I ran into a few beasts who went down without much of a fight. The temper proved somewhat troublesome. Those chains should keep them under control until our allies take them into custody. With that taken care of, and to gather a few supplies and then return to the station. While I see to that, would you mind apprising Lucia of our progress? As it happens, I have some rather pertinent information from our recent scouting forays, but I'll save that for later. First things first and all that. You see, I've left it ever so slightly too long, I feel, between the last time I was doing these quests. So I don't fully remember all the voices I did for them. We'll just skip through all that. Ah, sympathy. I was informed of Quince's suicide. It must have come as a great shock to his men. With refugees, I'm told some was receptive to our proposals. I would hear of your first-hand account. That someone did not hesitate to accept proves how desperate their situation has become. We'll do our best to make them feel welcome. The troops who have participated in the ambush are no exception. They'll be afforded the same treatment as any of the other refugees. Perfidy notwithstanding. After all, even if I wanted to make an example of them, there'd be no one left to learn from it. Tell our allies that these soldiers were acting under the direct orders of the legatus, and that following his suicide, they offered a full and unconditional surrender. Perhaps Quintus thought that with it, I was going to thought that had he lived, he would be tried as a war criminal, and his men punished with him. Perhaps by taking his own life, he hoped to absolve them of any culpability. Or perhaps, like too many others, was a true believer to the end. Who can say? I didn't know the man, or his heart. His reasons, noble or otherwise, died with him. It falls to us to clean up the mess. I seem to be curious how matters have progressed here in your absence. Very well. As it happens. Very well as it happens. Whoops. Now that we've procured ceruleum from Tapper's den, recently repaired heaters can provide much needed warmth. Furthermore, we prepared sufficient food for everyone. Those from Tertium shall find a hot meal waiting upon their arrival. There's one for you, so go ahead and earn some and get some well-earned rest. I believe we're capable of wielding a ladle or two without your assistance. On your way, might I ask you to seek out Y'shtola? She was but recently attending the wounded, but she's meant to be taking a rest herself. See that she is. Right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to see if I've definitely got this one. I'm not 100% sure that I do. Okay, I do, cool. Grab this one. Skip through all that dialogue because we don't really care about the side quests. And yes, before anyone says I know that some of them have really good stories. But I'm not doing that. Oh, we've got two. We've got one around corner as well. I'll be with you in a second, Y'shtola. Just need to speak with Appius. No, don't give me a cutscene. Time to go inspect cerulean engines, I guess. Okay, so I don't have to wait around whilst they check it. It's just a matter of click on it, and then we can go. So that might have been just there. Well, this is not how I was intending to spend this time, but it's how we are, so we just have to deal with it. With your deft hands. Oh, I'm not even reading this. I wasn't expecting to have to be doing this. Hey, right. Don't need to worry about that. I'm sure I probably read the quest text. Alright. Yes, I've been taking proper breaks and imbibing sufficient water. What of the Warrior of Light? You and the twins have an established history of reckless disregard for your own well-being. Well, fortunate that none of you landed yourselves in my care. Quite enough to deal with, between the tempered and the first wounded. Alas, though they can mend their bodies, the toll their experience have taken on their heart and minds is another matter altogether. For their sakes we mustn't waver, but none of us we rush ahead in eagerness to see the day run, and in doing so invite disaster. Upon settling down for supper, several cutscenes will play in sequence. It's recommended you set aside sufficient time. Well, I think we've got sufficient time now. I am actually feeling quite tired, so I might end stream after this quest. We'll come back to it at a regular hour of the day. I know it's only been like an hour, but so many.
Is that all of them?
The last of those who agreed to join us, yes.
We left heaters and provisions for those who wish to stay behind. They won't last forever, but hopefully they'll last long enough.
For now, I think everyone's earned a rest. We'll see to those in need of medical attention, so take the others with you and get yourselves some hot soup.
Was he on? Imagine not very well.
Warmth. At last.
Marvelous, isn't it? All thanks to the resourceful machinists of Ishgard, I might add. On their behalf, I bid you warm yourself to your heart's content.
Hold on. Your people might have scribbled a few things on a piece of parchment, but it was our Minson Smiths that put the bloody things together.
Well, be that as it may, we single-handedly got the interior heating up and running again, didn't we?
The hells you did! We were there every step of the way.
We? You barely raised a finger to help, you ale-sodden reprobate.
I did a damn sight more than you, you lily-livered bilge rat.
Take that back.
Make me.
I will not stoop to your level.
Here.
At ease, man. There's nothing funny in it. I'm from Alamego, but was a conscript until recently. Used to eat this with the officers.
Apparently, it's adapted from a steppe recipe. This is my first time trying it, and I have to say, it's not half bad.
It's a bit too flavorful for my liking.
Perhaps compared to what you're used to.
the little things that make life worth living, don't you think?
I know this is not a dream, and yet... I felt the same way at the Dragon Song War's end. Every morning I would step outside and need to be reminded that it wasn't my imagination, that my world had been forever changed. And just as I had grown accustomed to the idea, again you changed my world in ways I never thought possible. Were it not for you and your fellow scions, the rifts between man and dragon and myriad tribes might never have been bridged. The Grand Company of Eorzea, the Ilsabard contingent. We owe it all to you. We've shed many tears in recent days, of pain and sorrow, triumph and joy. I much prefer the latter.
Yeah, we all do. We all do. I'll say as do I.
I'm honored to fight by your side. As an Eorzean and Garlean both, I shall do all in my power to bring my peoples together.
Sounds good to me.
It is a remarkable achievement. Everything that I and the Populares had hoped for, and more.
Would that it had come sooner.
Indeed. Too many are not here to see it. And yet, there is a warmth in my breast, as if they still share in this moment.
Yes, I know what you mean. On a night like tonight, the wind and cold seem to pass me by.
Oh yeah, I forgot we had that flower. Please tell me the Garleans have someone with
On behalf of the Garlean, I thank you for inviting me today.
No.
What? Emperor Varys?
Okay, so it definitely was like bits of Emperor Varys that were in the things.
They are being tempered. The talismans! Quickly!
Save me, brave hero! My lord has requested your presence, and I would hate to disappoint him.
Never.
The experiment was a success, but I fear our time is short.
Excuse you?
I shall begin the preparations.
Now, it is time for you to awaken. Good morrow to you. Here, have a taste before it gets cold. Oh, but be sure to remove your helmet. Take a moment, too, to familiarize yourself with that borrowed flesh. So, how does it feel? I, for one, find those first moments within a new body to be most refreshing. We had a Magitech engineer by the name of Aulus to thank for this method of soul extraction and implantation. I believe the two of you met briefly in Alamigo. His was a rather sticky end, wasn't it? Thankfully, he was thoughtful enough to leave behind his mind-jack technology. I took the liberty of making some improvements and selecting you as my esteemed test subject.
Yeah, give me back my body, weirdo.
And permit you to go on a righteous rampage instead of partaking in this delicious meal? I think not. I must say, I have gone to great lengths to reunite you with my lord. When I discovered that his friend was in this neck of the woods, I suggested inviting you over for dinner.
Oh, crap.
He never deigned to respond, but I took his silence as a resounding yes. Oh my! Daddy is pleased his grumpy little boy has finally found his playmate. Exposition is in order. The Garlean Empire has long outlawed all forms of religion. No gods to worship, no risk of summoning. Brilliantly simple. But people being people must turn to something or someone in their hour of need. Who then? Why, His Radiance the Emperor, of course. As you have observed firsthand, Garlemald has seen better days. The legendary Solus Galvus, dead. Provinces near and far in open rebellion. Our bold new emperor assassinated. And that last one even sparked a civil war. What rotten luck. The people cried out for salvation. Their earnest pleas, one might even call them prayers, a supplication united for the Empire to reclaim her former glory.
I feel like that might be animal.
And so their will did manifest, channeled through the corpse of none other than Emperor Varus himself. And lo, the Savior was born. The embodiment of the Garlean spirit. Their anima. It calls to its subjects, compelling them to take up arms and fight. And just as the wealth and power gravitate towards the Empire's capital, so too does ether from every corner of the globe. The towers with which you and your allies have been so preoccupied were created as an extension of anima itself. An ingenious design. Would you not agree, my lord?
Does the pursuit of prey you have bested before excite you? Of course not. Absent the challenge, the thrill, your prize is a hollow victory. Butchery. Perhaps you think that to be the extent of my promise. I have no doubt fallen in your estimation since Alamigo. Fair enough. But do not let your disdain deprive us, of an opportunity to craft an even more majestic moment of euphoria. I have been honing my craft as I set the stage for our reunion. Wheresoever there is suffering and despair, you appear to fulfill your duty as defender of this star. The chaos and destruction that my hordes have wrought are my gifts to you alone. At a loss for words? No matter. As you will learn, I have only just begun.
Oh, will you not finish your meal?
There is only one thing that can sate my hunger, and it would seem my friend has lost his appetite. I hoped this display of civility might prove an entertaining diversion, but clearly we are above such pretensions. While my lifeless body was in the possession of the Ascian, I too claimed another's as my own. It was an enlightening experience to fight in an unfamiliar form. Flaws and failings in my technique were plain to see. Whence rises one's true strength? The flesh? The soul? Perhaps you should like to discover the answer for yourself.
Really? Not really. I'd rather just, have my body back. Go help out with this temple issue.
Or together.
No body snatchers.
dear! Whatever would happen if my lord were to greet your friends as you? I shudder to imagine what carnage he would wreak.
I mean, you should all have a spot straight away.
We'd better hurry if we want to avert the bloodbath. You can thank me later for my generosity. There it is. Your camp, I believe. If I were to hazard a guess, I would say that you, the other you, is making his way there as we speak. Alas, this you will have to walk from here. Or run, if you can manage it. My lord would be cross if I made it too easy. Such ingratitude. I'd not squander this fighting chance. After all, you've obstacles enough to overcome. Right on cue. Tempered soldiers, with standing orders to kill those not sworn to anima. Under normal circumstances, you would make short work of them. But on this occasion, the odds are not so heavily stacked in your favor.
It's a dirty trick. So I'm going to have to sneak through, avoiding the War Machina and the Tempered Soldiers. Okay. Do I have to? Okay, so it's essentially just part of my hands. That's fine.
Not bad at all, given your diminished capacity. Nevertheless, 'twould perhaps be prudent to keep to the shadows, scurrying about like a rodent.
I don't even know which way I'm supposed to be heading. Like, Broken Camp is like that, but far too many that way. Can I sneak around this way? I can. Okay, cool. get sorted. If we stay at range, it shouldn't notice us. Right, this one's just immobilized. Yes, this does. Found a med kit, that's not what we're after. What is that? So one of the deceased Imperials might have some on them. Nope, there's not kit. It had to pop up with one whilst I was in a timed mission, didn't it? I've got to remember where that guy was. There's that, which means it's just over that side. Can I pop this in there? Yes, I can. To this one. Oh Christ, there's my first. I say getting like wrecked by that. I wish I could share this medkit with someone. There we go, now I can get rid of that. To escape the blast, you begin to lose consciousness. Oh god. Come on, we can do this. Right, okay, I should be fine. Crawl to safety and regain consciousness. Nearly dead though, jeez. Come on, we can do this. We might not be able to stop our actual body, but we might just be able to make it there, at the very least.
It is a miracle we were able to restrain the Tempered without suffering casualties.
A welcome one. Arun, Senna and the others have their hands full as it is. Thankfully there are enough scales for everyone.
And what of Euless? His symptoms were particularly severe.
They were, but others fared still worse, including some brought back from the Magna Glacius. As those in most desperate need take priority, it may be a while before he receives treatment. But rest assured that he will. In the meantime, we must find our missing friend. May the Fury guide you.
Of all the bloody times for a disappearing act.
Right when the first wave struck, we'd be fools to think it a coincidence. But where even to begin the search? No one saw him leave in the chaos, and we've no trail to follow.
While I know full well he can handle himself, I worry all the same.
Ah, speak of the devil.
Y'shtola should be the first to pick
Well,
up.
time to call off the search.
Oh no,
Case
she'll be,
closed.
a bit distracted by all the ether floating around everywhere from anime.
That's him. Over there.
Aye, 'twould appear so. Thou art struggling to perceive his presence?
I am. Perhaps, in the aftermath of the wave, there is some residual effect interfering with my faculties. But...
Where have you been? We've been worried sick.
Now, all's well that ends well. Are you all right?
Are you all right?
Who are you?
That's right. I showed up. Yeah, well, that works. Never say the lines myself.
Sadly, that is all we have time for today. The effect has run its course, and back to your own bodies you must go. But where are my manners? You have all traveled so very far, and I have yet to pay my respects. Though in my defense, I was ill-prepared to receive so many uninvited guests. As such, preliminary entertainments were in order. A handful of tempered soldiers to hamper your progress. Refugees to command your attention while I siphon the ceruleum from the shadows. Particularly effective. Charitable souls that you are, you bent over backwards to aid them. Heedless of the delay. Predictable to a fault. And so my plan approaches completion unhindered. Anima will soon have absorbed the requisite amount of ether. And then shall come the spectacle to end all spectacles. The eldest and most powerful of primals will awaken. And all shall bear witness to the final days!
I'm actually impressed I managed to stop that Reaper thingy.
The gods themselves will be my meal. Your dear companions my dessert. Upon this world I'll feast, and death shall follow in my wake. All your hate, all your rage, you will render unto me.
For upon thy life's wheel wind too many threads of fate, power, wheel enmeshed with woe. More terrible still is the attrition wrought upon thy companions, as they are swept up in the storm of thine existence. Take heart and protect them well. They will be your strength and your salvation.
Thank goodness. He's awake.
Well, I'm hoping that doesn't happen again, because I didn't like that. Everything alright?
Perfectly fine, yes. I hope the same can be said of you.
Right, but now I'm in my own body, jeez.
Everything in working order? That's a relief. Oh, and before I forget, thanks for coming to our rescue.
Given recent events, I would be surprised if you weren't feeling a bit poorly. A hearty meal and a long rest would be my recommendation under normal circumstances, but these are anything but. If Van Daniel's boasts are to be believed, we must act quickly. Once you've blown away the cobwebs, we can discuss preparations for our assault on the Tower of Babel.
I require a detailed report on what occurred whilst you were not yourself. Further contingent, of course. I can wait until later. It can wait until later. For now, it's enough that you've returned. The body that you were forced to inhabit turned cold and stiff the moment you returned to your own. Perhaps the soul that belonged to us long ago. Let's pray it is so. For I doubt there would be it would be of better care. I doubt it would be better off in the care of Xenos or Van Daniel. Oh, the heavens, you're you again. Give me quite a fright. Whatever that was. Let's not do it again, eh? Full glad am I to see thee awake and restored in thine own flesh once more. Yes, it is still you. My apologies, I realised too late that the ether emanating from the tower was distorting my perception. It was likely a temporary effect, but I remain wary. No apologies necessary, least of all to me. If anything, there's a strange comfort in knowing I'm no longer the only one to have been used as a villain's puppet. I pray you'll be the last. You're certain that you've recovered? You mustn't push yourself, especially after an experience like that. You're certain you're well? Nothing out of place? No missing bits? Good. Though I won't promise the same for Van Daniel and Xenos after I get through with them. How much must these people suffer before they're satisfied? What cruel, pointless tricks must they play? Play to the final days unknown? This ends now. Maybe ends next week. But yeah, I'm going to be ending here. Because I'll be honest, I don't feel like the dungeon right now. And I'll be completely honest, if I were to continue on, I would have like a really bad time trying to queue for the trial. So I'm going to end here. So thank you very much for watching, and I shall catch you tomorrow for Destiny 2. Bye now.